To watch these important lessons, subscribe to DP Education's YouTube channel right now. Click on the bell icon to stay updated on the latest lessons. Sri Lanka's largest free online school, DP Education.
Right, children. Now we are going to start the second chapter of this lesson. So I hope you all remember what we learned in the first chapter. We learned about the atmosphere and its layers and what are the differences between each layers and special characteristics of each layer too. Right, children? So here we are going to start with differences in temperature and pressure in layers of the atmosphere. Now about the air pressure, I explained you all a little in the beginning, okay? Let's go through this. We live in the troposphere, right? The lowest layer, the closest layer to the earth, right? What happens to the temperature and the pressure when you go up the troposphere? So when you consider the temperature and pressure of throughout the troposphere, we are going to see how it changes now. I explained you all about the change of pressure throughout the troposphere, but I did not explain you all about the temperature yet, right? The following table shows the altitude. Now, what is the meaning of the altitude, children? Do you remember in the first chapter I explained you all? Altitude means height from the sea level, right? Height of a certain location from the sea level is known as its altitude, right? So, the following table shows the altitude, annual average temperature, and average atmospheric pressure in some cities of Sri Lanka. Here it's selected 3 cities, Colombo, Kandy, and Nuwara. We all know, even earlier I explained y'all, when we consider Colombo, it's almost at the sea level. When you consider Nuwara, it's at a higher elevation, very high elevation, and actually Kandy in between, right? So let's see the altitude away, right? How high it is from the sea level, okay? So altitude, Colombo, 1 meter. So I told y'all it's almost at the sea level, okay? Kandy, 500 meters, right? Its height is from the sea level, its height is 500 meters, right? Nuwara, 1868 meters, even higher, okay? So when you consider the altitude, Colombo is closest to the sea level and the altitude is highest in Nuwara, right? So what is the average temperature in degrees Celsius? Colombo, 27.4, right? Kandy, 24.6, less than that of Colombo. Nuwara has the least temperature, 15.9 degrees Celsius. Average temperature. Okay, remember this temperature, pressure, everything changes daily basis. Okay, this is the average value given here according to meteorological department. Okay, so average temperature in Colombo is about 27.4. In Kandy it's about 24.6. Nuwara it's about 15.9. Okay, so average pressure in Colombo. Now, earlier we learned that pressure is measured in millibars. Simple MB is the unit. Okay. So, Colombo average pressure is 1110. Kandy, 956 millibars. And Nuwara 813 millibars. Do you remember in the first chapter I explained y'all, when the altitude increases, the air pressure decreases, right? When the altitude is low, air pressure is high, which means when you are in a lower altitude, you have to carry a higher column of air above you, right? Which means you have to carry more air particles. The height of the air column is higher than that of the upper elevation, higher altitude. Okay, children? So in Colombo, average pressure is about 1110 millibars, right? In Nuwara it's about 813 millibars. Out of these 3, the lowest air pressure, right? So in Kandy, 956, which is in between Colombo and Nuwara. Right, children? So after going through this table, it's very clear that when the altitude increases, average temperature and air pressure decreases. right? Average temperature is also highest in Colombo. Average pressure is also highest in Colombo. Average temperature and pressure lowest, both of them lowest in Nuwara right? Okay, so it's very important. According to the above table, it's clear that when the altitude is increased, the temperature and the pressure are decreased. This is very important. But remember, this is only across the troposphere, the lowest layer, right? At the same time, when you consider the air pressure, so earlier we learned that when you consider the amount of air in the troposphere, it has, out of the entire atmosphere, 75% of air present in the troposphere. More air means more air particles. More air particles means more air pressure, right? So when you consider the air pressure in the troposphere, we can consider it is the highest. But even throughout the troposphere, we can understand that when the altitude increases, air pressure decreases. Okay, children? Right, so we can consider out of all the layers, air pressure is highest. Out of all 5 layers, air pressure is highest in the troposphere. So what about the temperature? We are going to learn how the temperature changes in these 5 layers too. Okay? Right. So we have this assignment. If you do this assignment, you can understand this change of pressure and temperature very clearly. Here you have to do only the temperature changes, but you can do the pressure one as well, right? Select some cities in Sri Lanka with different altitudes. You can even take all these 3 cities, so you can increase the number of cities too. Okay? Right. So select some cities in Sri Lanka with different altitudes, right? Listen to the weather reports in media and record the temperature of those cities for a week, for 7 days. Okay? Show the collected details using a graph. So using a graph, when we include our data in a graph, we can see them very clearly, we can understand them very clearly, right, children? So how to do this activity? You all can do this activity all by yourself without anyone's help, children. Now you know, by this grade, you know how to draw graphs and all. So if you miss any weather report, you can even refer to the website of the meteorological department and you can get all the details from there too. Okay, right. Let's see, I will briefly explain how to do this activity. So we can take the same cities or different cities as well. So you have to record the temperatures for week, right? Right, children? Let's see that. Right. This one, the first column as city. Then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Right? And then you can take the cities. We can even use the same 3 cities we used in the previous example. Colombo, Kandy, Nuwara. Right? So you have to collect details of these 3 cities and then you have to, now you can't go to all these areas. The easiest way is you can get details from the weather reports or the website of the meteorological department. Okay, so you can even just Google it. What is today's temperature in Colombo? What is today's temperature in Kandy? Likewise, you can even Google it if you have the facility, right? Then you have to record them here. Okay, so let's consider in a particular time period here temperature. We will simply take it 26 degrees Celsius, 26.5, right? Here let's consider 27, and 26.5 again, 27, 28, right? Here we'll consider 27 again, right? Likewise, we'll just take an example, right? So you have to find in the same week, right? For the same week, you have to find the temperatures of Kandy and Nuwara Eliya or any other city that you choose, okay? And then what you have to do is you have to include all these details in a graph, right? How to do that? When you draw the graph, you can, now let's consider this one, you can take the day, right? Starting from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? And then to this side, you can consider the temperature in degrees Celsius, right? So probably Nuwara Eliya, you will realize that the temperature is very low. Even earlier we discussed that. Here about 15.9, right? Here 27.4. Likewise, let's consider, we can mark it from 0 to 5, 10 degrees Celsius, 20, 30. Likewise, you can draw. Right, children? Or even 5 into 5 also you can go. We can increase the range here to observe it better. Let's say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, likewise. Okay, you all have learned how to draw graphs. Right, children? So on Monday, you can take a better graph sheet and you can mark in between also very clearly, right? So if you consider Monday, Colombo's temperature is 26, right? Somewhere here. So when you do this activity, make sure you use a graph sheet, right? So then you will not make mistakes. Okay, you can mark it here. Tuesday, 26.5, a little more than that, right? Wednesday, 27. Thursday, again 26.5, right? Friday, again 27. Saturday, 28, highest, right? Sunday, 27 again. And then you have to draw the graph like this, right? So this is for Colombo. For Kandy and Nuwara Eliya also you can do the same, right? So probably when you consider Kandy, temperatures less than that of Colombo, right? Here, average temperature of Colombo is 27.4 degrees Celsius. Kandy is about 24.6, a bit cooler than Colombo, right? So probably you will see the graph of Kandy will lie somewhere here, right, children? And the Nuwara Eliya one probably lie between 15 and 20, right? So, and between 15, 20 or even sometimes 10 also, somewhere lower, right? So you can see how the temperature changes within a week. Okay, children? So when you do these type of activities, you can understand these type of details better, right? How the temperature changes in different cities. Now we know according to altitude, Colombo's altitude is lowest, Nuwara Eliya's altitude is the highest. Likewise, now we know that how the temperature changes according to the altitude. Right, children? So you can get a better understanding on what you learn by doing these type of activities. So even this activity you can do by yourself without anyone's help, children. Try to do it by yourself. Right? Try to collect these details by yourself. Then you will understand what we learned here better. Right, children? We'll move on to the next. So according to those details, we will go through. Now we learned only about the troposphere, how the temperature and pressure changes throughout the troposphere we learned. Now we are going to learn how the temperature changes throughout all the other layers of the atmosphere, okay? Right. So here, look at this one. This is also a certain graph. We'll first read this. The following figure shows the changes in temperature of different layers in the atmosphere. So for all these changes, there is a reason, children. So we are going to learn why the temperature changes like this throughout the other layers of the atmosphere. Okay? Right. So here, first of all, we will understand the axis of this graph. This is the x-axis. Towards this side, temperature is given. It's given in degrees Celsius. Right? Toward this side, what is given, children? Height, or the altitude actually, height, kilometers from the sea level, which means the altitude. Right, children? So height from the sea level is given in the y-axis, right? Okay, so starting from 0, you all can see this is 15 kilometers. That is where the troposphere. So basically it's at the equator area. Okay, so 15, and here 50 line, margin of the stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, after this exosphere. Okay, right. So how the temperature changes? So you all can see this is 17. This line is 17. It's given here. So temperature starts from somewhere here, right? If this is 17, this could be more than 20. Normally, what we consider is average temperature, about 26, let's say, right? So this is the temperature. It starts from here. So you all can see the temperature starts from here, and you all can see the temperature decreases. Now here, if we consider this is 20, let's say 26, towards this side means the temperature decreases when we go up through from bottom to top of the troposphere. See, look at this line. It decreases, right? Here the temperature is this, less than 26, which means when you go away from the earth, we can consider this one. Troposphere starts at 0th level, which means the ground level. Starting from the ground, troposphere go up to about 15 kilometers, right? So this is the ground level. Ground level temperature is about 25, 26. That's the normal temperature, average temperature of a certain area. So when we go up towards the troposphere, what happens, children? The temperature decreases. So why does this temperature changes like this, children? Now we all know when we consider the earth, because of the sun's heat, the earth gets heated up faster. Right, children? The earth gets heated up faster because of the sun's heat. Okay? So at the same time, next to the earth, the air layer present, when you consider the troposphere, the lowest air layer, the air particles, the air present closer to the earth also gets heated up faster because of the earth's heat. Right? When the temperature of the earth increases, this heat spreads to the air layers next to the earth too. Right, children? Therefore, when you consider the entire troposphere, the air closer to the earth's air's temperature is higher than that of the upper layers of the troposphere. Right? So that is why when this air moving away from the earth, its temperature decreases. Right? The part of the troposphere which is closest to the earth is the temperature is higher than that of the other parts of the troposphere. That's why when you go away from the earth, the temperature decreases of the troposphere. Right? And it reaches a certain level, and this line is for this is, I explained you all earlier, that is known as tropopause. Right? The line where troposphere and stratosphere separate. Right, children? So you all can see, starting from there, I will take a different color here. Right? Starting from there, you all can see very clearly throughout the stratosphere, temperature increases again. Right? Temperature increases again throughout the stratosphere. What do you think is the reason for this, children? Right? You all know, I already explained you earlier, there's a special layer present among the stratosphere. What is the name of that? That is known as the ozone layer. This ozone layer has a special ability to absorb part of the sunlight, the UV rays, ultraviolet rays, right? Because of absorption of this part of the sunlight, again the stratosphere gets heated up. Right, children? The stratosphere gets heated up because of absorption of the sun's UV rays. That is why across this stratosphere from bottom to top, temperature increases again. Right, children? Okay. And the third layer is mesosphere again. Right? You can see mesosphere's temperature reduces a lot here. Right? It decreases. Stratosphere's temperature is higher. Again, in the mesosphere, from bottom to top, right? Bottom to top, temperature decreases, highly decreases. Right? So across this mesosphere, from bottom to top, temperature reduces, highly reduces, right? Decreases. So what is the reason, children? In the mesosphere, this is the coldest layer, right? This is the coldest layer. The coldest temperature that ever recorded was about minus 90 degrees Celsius, right? It's very low temperature, right, children? So here what happens? Mesosphere's temperature also reduces like this. Okay, so from mesosphere, from bottom to top, temperature highly decreases, right? Because of this, mesosphere is the coldest layer, right, children? And then thermosphere. Look at the thermosphere. Throughout the thermosphere, temperature again highly increases, right? It keeps on increasing throughout the thermosphere. You all can see now, this is the average temperature. If you consider this temperature in the troposphere, starting from the average temperature, let's say between 25 to 27 degrees Celsius, you all can see nearly this highest temperature of the stratosphere also kind of similar with this one, right? But when you consider the thermosphere, temperature keeps on increasing like this. What is the reason? The air particles in the thermosphere absorbs a large amount of heat, and at the same time, very less amount of air particles present in the thermosphere. Therefore, whatever the heat is absorbed will not distribute evenly, right? Therefore, temperature is very high here, right, children? Temperature is very high. It's about 200 degrees Celsius, but it can even reach up to 2000 according to the certain changes take place in the solar activities. Based on the solar activities, sometimes it can even reach up to 2000 degrees Celsius, right, children? So generally about 200 degrees Celsius temperatures present in the layer, right, children? So it keeps on increasing. What about the exosphere? So when you consider the exosphere, it increases more and more because it is getting closer to the sun, more and more away from the earth, which means it gets closer to the sun. Therefore, temperature highly increases there also. Okay, children? So let's see the description related to this one. So these are the details that can be taken from the above figure, right? Okay. Temperature decreases with increase in height up to the troposphere, right? Temperature decreases with increase in height up to the troposphere, right? So this is how it happens. I already explained y'all. The land and the sea get heated by the sun's heat. Okay, the land and the sea get heated by the sun's heat. Not only the land, the sea also. So the temperature near the land is high. What is the reason? When the land's temperature is high, that heat spreads to the air layers also. Because of spreading of heat, transmission of heat, what happens? Air layers closer to the land also gets heated up, right? So the temperature of the troposphere gradually decreases away from the land. When these air layers go away from the land, so the air in the troposphere, air particles will not get heated up because of the land, only the ones closer to the land. Okay, right. So the second layer So temperature increases in the stratosphere when goes up. We already explained this one. This is the stratosphere. Temperature increases from bottom to top, right? Temperature increases. So what is the reason? The reason is the presence of the ozone layer, which absorbs the ultraviolet rays of the sun. Okay? So then the stratosphere gets heated and temperature increases. When part of the solar rays is trapped in this stratosphere, this layer, what happens, children? Because of that trapped amount of heat, it gets heated up. Okay, children, we'll move on to the next. So here, the other parts, the other layers are explained in this extra knowledge part. Therefore, this is equally important, children. So even though this part is given in the extra knowledge part, this is also very important because it explains what is the reason for the change of the temperature throughout the other three layers. Okay, right. So temperature in the mesosphere decreases from bottom to top, right? Mesosphere decreases from bottom to top. So it is because there is very less amount of ozone gas. So in the stratosphere, there's this ozone layer, and because of the presence of the ozone layer, what happens, children? Part of the sun's rays is trapped in the stratosphere, and because of that, the stratosphere gets heated up. But here there's no ozone layer, therefore it does not get heated up just like the stratosphere. Okay? So it's because there's very less amount of ozone gas to absorb sun's ultraviolet rays. So the lowest temperature is recorded in the top of the mesosphere. Look at this graph again. So when you consider the top of the mesosphere, this is the bottom of the mesosphere, right? This is the top of the mesosphere. So when you consider the top of the mesosphere, the lowest temperature is present in the top of the mesosphere. Highest temperature is present in the bottom of the mesosphere because it's just coming from the stratosphere area. Right, children? Okay. So the lowest temperature is recorded in the top of the mesosphere. It is about, even earlier I explained this, mentioned this, about minus 90 degrees Celsius. This temperature is less than the temperature in Antarctic, which has the lowest temperature on the Earth. So, on the Earth, the lowest temperatures are recorded in the polar regions. So, this temperature is even lower than those temperatures. Right, children? Okay. So, you can imagine how cold this layer of the atmosphere would be like. Right? Okay. So, the next one. Temperature in the thermosphere increases from bottom to top again. Right? You all remember this one. So, the thermosphere from bottom to top, again the temperature increases. Okay? Right. So, temperature in the thermosphere increases from bottom to top again. The reason is the air particles in this layer highly absorb the sun's heat. Okay? Temperature increases more and more when it is close to the exosphere. Right? Temperature increases more and more when it is close to the exosphere. Right? So, exosphere is the thinnest layer out of all the other layers, and exosphere's temperature is also higher. Right, children? So, in this chapter, we learn about how temperature and pressure changes throughout the layers. So, when you consider the pressure, we learn about how the air pressure changes according to altitude throughout the troposphere. Right? And finally, we learn about how temperature changes throughout all the other layers, starting from troposphere to exosphere, how temperature varies throughout the atmosphere. So I hope you got a better understanding how and why this temperature and pressure change throughout the layers of this atmosphere. And we are going to learn more about the atmosphere in the next chapters.
To watch these important lessons, subscribe to DP Education's YouTube channel right now. Click on the bell icon to stay updated on the latest lessons. Sri Lanka's largest free online school, DP Education.